when was the last time you truly questioned something you've always just accepted as true? Not just, wondered about it, but really dug into why it's the way it is.
Mm.
Because today, you and I are taking a deep dive into a book that's all about doing exactly that. It's about peeling back those layers of assumptions, the ones that shape our lives, our work.
Yeah, we're talking about Who Says, Question Everything, and Discover the Genius of Thinking Differently by Joe Mechlinski.
Right.
And our mission here, it's not just to summarize. We really want to pull out those truly impactful insights,
Yeah.
the ones that challenge the status quo, maybe inspire some real change, and basically give you a shortcut to rethinking, well, everything.
The whole human experience, really.
Exactly. The book itself is like this urgent invitation, isn't it?
Mhm.
To question the things we don't normally question, especially around work and life choices that maybe don't quite line up with who we really are.
Okay, so let's get into it. The book jumps right in, talking about the state of work, especially now, post-pandemic. Even before 2020, the numbers were pretty stark. Over 70% of people felt disengaged at work.
70%. That's huge.
It really is. And the book argues that this feeling, this disconnect, it's only gotten deeper.
Yeah, which leads to what Mechlinski calls the productivity paradox.
Yeah.
And this is fascinating.
Okay, what's the paradox?
Well, get this. Only 12% of executives think their teams are actually productive.
12. Wow. Okay.
But at the same time, 87% of employees see themselves as highly productive.
That's a massive gap.
It's a chasm. It's, misalignment. Maybe we're measuring the wrong things. Or leaders are just totally out of touch. In the pandemic, it just flipped everything. Suddenly, people could work from anywhere, globally.
Right.
Which raises this great question from the book. Are we ready to be outdoor cats? Ready for this decentralized work life?
Outdoor cats. I like that image. It immediately challenges the old factory mindset, the office cage almost.
Exactly. And it's not just work norms the book targets. It goes after these societal benchmarks we just accept, like retiring at 65.
Yeah, where did that even come from?
Well, not from studies on human well-being, that's for sure. It actually traces back to early 20th century Germany. Politics, basically.
So it's completely arbitrary, really.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And yet here we are, still clinging to it. Makes you wonder, right?
It does. And school bells, too.
Oh, yeah. Straight out of the Industrial Revolution playbook. Conditioning behavior for factory shifts. Ring the bell, change the task.
But we just internalize these things without thinking about their origins. It's kind of wild.
It is. And this questioning lens, it naturally makes you look at those old business sayings differently, too. Like, it's not personal, it's just business.
Ah, yes, the classic. How does the book tackle that one?
It completely dismantles it. I mean, think about it. A couple of 100 years ago, business might have been market day. Thursday afternoon, maybe. You go, you do your transactions, you go home. Business done.
Right, contained.
But now, the marketplace is 24/7. Online. We're glued to screens, bombarded by ads. This constant transactional noise.
Always on.
Always on. And the book argues, pretty powerfully, I think, that this win-at-all-costs thing is breaking down because business is personal. It's our life.
It consumes so much of it.
Exactly. Our natural state isn't constant transaction. It's connection, meaning creation.
And that idea that business is personal, it's backed up by things like Google's Project Aristotle, right?
Absolutely. Huge finding there. The #1 driver of a high-performing team. Not pressure, not killer competition.
Psychological safety.
Psychological safety. People feeling safe, seen, supported. It's fundamental.
Which really makes you rethink what success and even legacy means.
Yeah, the book challenges that name on the building idea of legacy. I mean, who knows? William Barton Rogers founded MIT.
Right?
Or Richard Saul-Wurman founded TED.
Good point. Not many, probably.
But they're creations. Huge impact. Enduring. Global.
So legacy isn't about the name plaque. The author talks about his mother's legacy.
Right? Realizing it's about what you help others do. The ripple effect.
Yeah.
The potential you unlock in people. That's the real legacy.
That's a much more fulfilling way to think about it.
Definitely. And it ties into this startling stat about creativity. NASA did this test, the imaginative thinking test.
Right.
Found that adults are 96% less creative than children.
96%. That can't be right.
It sounds insane, but that's the finding. And think about questions. The average adult asks maybe 6 questions a day. Kids, they ask around 125.
Wow. Okay, so we're just losing it somewhere along the way.
We are. Our systems, especially school, often kind of beat that curiosity out of us. The marshmallow challenge is a great example here.
Right, building the tower with spaghetti and marshmallows.
Yeah. Kids tend to do better than business students because they just experiment. They play. They collaborate. They don't overthink it. It shows how innovation thrives in that open-minded space we seem to lose.
Okay, so questioning these external things, these benchmarks, eventually turns the focus inward, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To finding your true north.
Exactly. The book defines it as that internal compass, the direction around which everything else makes sense, your core values, your inner knowing.
And it's not just for the CEO.
No, absolutely not. It's for everyone. The book uses that great JFK man on the moon story. You could ask anyone at NASA, right down to the janitor, what's your job?
And they'd say,
I'm helping put a man on the moon. That's shared purpose. That's alignment from values top to bottom.
that's powerful. There's also the story of Pat, the CEO with the compass and telescope.
Yeah, on his desk. Not literal tools, but reminders. Focus on the true north, the big picture. His whole philosophy boiled down to, there are only two things in life you can control: your attitude and your effort.
Simple but profound.
And having that clear true north is crucial, especially when you're caught in what researchers called a double bind.
What's that exactly?
It's when you get multiple conflicting messages
Yeah.
and confusing narratives where you just can't win, can't respond clearly. It creates this paralysis.
Oh, okay, like being stuck.
Exactly. Sort of schizoid confusion, they called it.
So this leads us into thinking about power structures in organization.
Right. The classic pyramid. Power seen as this scarce thing hoarded at the top.
But the book argues for flattening it.
Yeah. Flattening that triangle into more of a network.
Yeah.
Nodes where inspiration, leadership, energy can just emerge from anywhere.
That sounds like Frederick Laloux's teal organizations.
Precisely. Self-management, decentralized power. It's a radical shift, moving towards collective well-being, shared purpose. Decisions happen closer to the action, more agile, more engaging.
But we're so conditioned for that pyramid. The book calls it the drug of power.
It does. That compulsion to play the power games, like an addiction, offering this fleeting hit of control, maybe validation.
And it starts young.
Often, yes.
Yeah.
Think about parenting. Dr. Shefali talks about shifting from because I said so.
The authoritarian approach.
Right. Shifting towards mutual respect, acknowledging the child's autonomy. But without that shift, we learn power over, not power with.
And that conditioning, the book says, makes us vulnerable.
Yeah, prey to advertising, political manipulation, celebrity worship, conformity. It disconnects us from our own meaning and purpose.
And it connects to the word no.
Absolutely. The terrible twos aren't terrible. They're crucial. It's when kids first discover personal sovereignty by saying no.
Asserting boundaries.
Exactly. And if that ability gets squashed, we either become passive or we learn to imitate that power over dynamic.
It sounds like that learned helplessness theory.
Very similar. Seligman and Mayer's dog experiments. The dogs subjected to shocks they couldn't escape.
They eventually stopped trying, even when escape was possible.
Right. They learned helplessness. It's like the eagle kept in a cage for too long. You open the door, but it doesn't fly out. Imprisonment becomes normal.
And we do that to ourselves.
Often, yeah. By outsourcing our meaning. Looking to gurus, politicians, self-help books to tell us how to live, instead of trusting our own inner compass.
The author's own story about Johns Hopkins really hits this home, feeling like an imposter.
Yeah, coming from Patterson High, worst school in the state, 23% graduation rate. Then Hopkins, a professor basically dismissing him.
Ouch.
But his roommate, his friends, they became this lifeline community.
And his big takeaway.
That true belonging comes from within. Defined by me, not by others. Such a powerful realization about self-worth and resilience.
So if these old power structures aren't working, how do we get to real equity? The book goes beyond just money, right?
Way beyond. It talks about equity of meaning, creativity, decision-making, innovation. It's much broader.
And there are examples.
Oh, yeah. CEOs challenging the pay gap. George Zimmer at Men's Warehouse setting a 1-to-20 ratio.
Okay.
And Dan Price at Gravity Payments famously cut his own $1 million salary to give everyone a $70,000 minimum.
I remember that story. What happened?
Productivity soared. Loyalty went through the roof. Profitability increased. It shows that hoarding power also hoards meaning and creativity. Everyone loses.
That makes me think of the Rat Park study.
Ah, yes. Brilliant experiment. Completely changed how we think about addiction.
Remind me.
So rats in a standard lab cage, given the choice between plain water and cocaine water, they mostly chose the cocaine water, became addicted.
Right.
But rats in Rat Park, this big, enriched environment with toys, tunnels, other rats to socialize with, they overwhelmingly chose the plain water.
So it wasn't just the drug. It was the environment, the lack of meaning, connection.
Exactly. And the implication for organizations is huge. Create environments with meaning and purpose, and maybe that addiction to just money or status starts to fade.
It shifts the focus to intrinsic motivation.
Precisely.
So what does living with personal sovereignty actually look like then?
The book describes it as living like you're the actor, director, and screenwriter of your own life movie. Focused on your own growth, your actualization.
Okay, taking ownership.
But here's the twist.
Yeah.
Once you truly recognize your own sovereignty, you can't help but see it and respect it in everyone else too.
Ah, interesting. And it connects to creativity.
Directly. It says whenever you do something just because you were told to, or because it's always been done that way, you're actually surrendering your sovereignty.
Makes you think.
And there are phases to reclaiming it, apparently. From negative thinking to kind of outsourcing your inspiration to finally owning your own power and vision.
How do you build a culture that supports that?
The book suggests this simple feedback flywheel. 3 steps. 1, ask questions.
Okay.
2, really listen to the answers.
Crucial.
3, do something about it. Act on the feedback.
Simple, but probably not easy to do consistently.
True. But it builds autonomy, accountability, transparency, trust. It fosters that co-creation vibe.
And this ties into Ken Wilber's idea of whole-ons.
Yeah, whole-ons. We're each a whole, complete individual.
But also part of a larger whole.
Exactly. Both individual and interconnected. And our agency, our power, really emerges when we embrace that interconnectedness.
Which brings us to the idea of bringing your whole self to work. That feels relatively new.
It is. Compared to previous eras where you checked your emotions at the door, now the push is towards integration.
So to regain that sovereignty, step out of the old power games, the key question is,
what is it you really want to create? And then, crucially, asking others, how can I support you in getting what you need?
Shifting from me to we.
Yeah, fostering that we game culture.
Yeah.
Collaboration, shared purpose, real connection.
Okay, shifting gears a bit, the book also talks about our fascination with the underdog. Why do we love those stories so much?
Well, it reflects this deep yearning for justice, doesn't it? For seeing tenacity and spirit win out against the odds.
Like Rudy, Rocky.
Ruby Bridges, Rosa Parks, these iconic figures who challenged the status quo against incredible resistance.
The author himself has an underdog story.
A really powerful one. Career-ending football injury pinched spinal cord. 6th concussion. Devastating.
Wow.
And then his first big job interview, Anderson Consulting. Instead of a normal resume, he pitches his house painting business.
His house painting business to Anderson Consulting.
Yep. Talked about growing it from 5 people to 150, treating employees like clients, telling homeowners they were helping pay for the painters' futures. It showed that different way of thinking right from the start.
Absolutely gutsy. And he had mentors.
Key ones. Stan, who saw he was an outdoor cat and gave him permission to break the rules.
That permission can be so important.
It really can. And Coach Roger Wren, a Maryland sports legend, who saw potential in him and his dad beyond just stats. True mentorship, seeing the person, not just the metrics.
It's about questioning those surface judgments.
Exactly. Which leads right into challenging other known truths. The book lists so many examples.
Like what?
Flat Earth, obviously. Static universe. Newtonian physics, which seemed absolute until quantum mechanics came along.
Right, changed everything.
The indivisible atom. Dietary fats being evil. Pluto being a planet.
Okay, point taken. Things change.
Constantly. It underlines the need to look at the edges, listen to the unconventional voices. That's often where the next breakthrough is hiding.
So what other big mysteries are out there pushing our boundaries?
Well, the book touches on some provocative stuff. Graham Hancock's theories about, potentially lost advanced civilizations thousands of years ago.
For recorded history.
Yeah, maybe wiped out by some cataclysm.
Yeah.
And then the New York Times reporting on UFOs in 2017. Diane Pasulka's academic work on non-human intelligence. It forces you to ask, are we really alone?
Big question.
Huge. And then there's dark matter, making up 93% of the cosmos. We can't see it, don't really know what it is. It's just humbling.
A massive reminder of how little we actually know for certain.
Exactly. Our worldview is always, always incomplete.
And speaking of exploring the unknown, the author gets personal about his own journey, including psychedelic therapy.
He does. Shares it as a catalyst for deep introspection, for reaching those flow states.
Flow states, where you're just completely absorbed, hyper-productive.
Yeah, creativity flows, time distorts. The Flow Research Collective talks about like a 500% productivity boost, potentially. And science is catching up, right? Studies on psilocybin for anxiety, depression, neuroplasticity, creativity boosting. It's not new either, historically. Think Aldous Huxley or Brian Muraresku's book on ancient ritual.
The immortality key.
Right, he shares it not as advocacy, but as his personal path to healing and unlocking a different way of thinking.
Okay, so bringing all this together, questioning norms, finding true north, sovereignty, exploring the unknown, what does the future of work and life look like according to the book, say 2030?
It paints a pretty optimistic picture, actually. A reimagined democracy. Maybe using digital tools, AI, for more direct decision-making, inspired by people like Audrey Tang in Taiwan.
Interesting.
A big shift from quantity to quality. AI becomes the big unlock, freeing us up to focus on what really matters for fulfillment.
And the 4-day work week.
Becomes standard. Better productivity, better well-being, better for the planet. Retirement transforms to more like lifelong contribution, enabled by the gig economy.
So success isn't just about stuff anymore.
No, it's about mental health, relationships, personal growth. A much richer definition.
And companies, what do they look like?
Radical collaboration, ruthless compassion, AI handling the drudgery, telepresence robots, VR for the global brainstorming sessions that feel real.
Work fuses with play.
Yeah, like designing VR jungles or using haptic robots for glass blowing. And this undercurrent of underdogs challenging toxic bro culture, using things like mass meditation and gardening. It's a very human-centric vision.
It sounds idealistic, but maybe necessary.
Maybe. But the book doesn't shy away from difficulty. It ends with this really grounding thought. It's all hard.
How so?
Marriage is hard. Divorce is hard. Staying is hard. Leaving is hard. Life is inherently challenging.
Okay.
So the question becomes, if it's all going to be hard anyway, why not choose the path that aligns with your deepest truth? The path that feels authentic, even if it's difficult.
That's a powerful framing, choosing your hard.
Yeah. The author shares talking to his son, realizing choosing the easy path leads to a harder life, while making the tough decisions often simplifies it. Counterintuitive, but resonates.
And that final admission to his daughter about parenting.
Oh, that's brilliant. I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm literally making this up moment by moment.
So honest.
And liberating. It's about embracing that uncertainty, the beautiful messiness of just being human, with courage and grace.
So the final thought to leave listeners with is that humility, knowing how much we don't know.
I think so. That sense of wonder. Trying to explain Netflix to an ant, or grasping that 93% dark matter reality. It keeps you open, keeps you learning, forces you to keep updating that worldview software.
And the ultimate truth the book lands on.
It's simple, profound. From the epilogue, love is the ultimate truth, and truth in its purest form is love.
Oh.
So the encouragement for you, for all of us, is just to carry on with open hearts, open minds, keep that curiosity alive, keep questioning everything.
It's to find your own genius.
And make your unique contribution, whatever that may be.